Hello, we are on Ketubor. My name is Tanguy Jacopin, and today the topic of the day is what is the most important genocide and what is its impact in terms of economic issues, obviously. So today it's not so fascinating in the sense that it might be difficult to go through this topic, but it has a huge impact. So what are we going to consider? We can consider some geographic area that suffer slavery, for instance, would be Africa. We could consider what happened during the Second World War with Jews and Hitler and Nazism, or we could consider the discovery of a new continent, as it was the case with the conquistadores of Spain. So here, let's see if we consider different period. What we can see is that obviously Africa has been hit to a certain extent by the population, but if we look at it, population went up and never decreased. Okay, so this is something that is important to consider. Now, if we look again at this document of OECD, considering worldwide population between year 1 and year 2003, what we can look here is that in Mexico, for instance, population in 1500, so just before Cortes' invasion of Aztecas and Mayas, and 16th century, population has been divided by 3, which is completely amazing. If we consider how long was it necessary just to get back from the 7.5 million inhabitants, how long was it necessary? But we need to wait until more or less 1850. If we add a normal consideration of the population, how it went up during this period, we can even say that basically they haven't got through this phenomenon. Was the case peculiar to Mexico, or was it the case of the Latin invasion, or comparing Latin versus Spanish versus Portuguese invasion? Well, what we can see here is that population went down as well, but the recovery was much faster in the case of other Latin American countries, because it took only, sorry about this, about the use of this concept, 250 years just to recover. So this is in terms of absolute numbers. So you say what happened and so on. We'll come back to this after the slides in terms of percentage, because it's quite interesting as well to see when did Mexico recover, because in the year 1500 it represented 1.7% of the worldwide population, and it's interesting to see that we had to wait for 500 years. 500 years just to see the recovery. If you consider other Latin American countries, from 2.3, well, it was done in 1850, so 350 years. So what happened? You say, how is it possible that these few guys were able to provoke so many disasters? Well, here you need to say that first, okay, they had the horses, they had the powder, they had the invention of the wheel, things that were not controlled by the others. But above all, we need to admit that despite the mass terror that this guy applied in the new continent, the major deaths were linked not to any kind of massive murder, but due to disease. And this is something that the discovery of this continent has a huge impact in that sense. Okay, so when we sum it up, we can say we need to wait for 350 years to recover from Spanish Black Legend in terms of number of people, as it was in 1500. Even more the case for Mexico and Cortes was amazing. 500 years to just recover in terms of worldwide population. Less impact in terms of GDPs and in terms of GDP per capita. And on the other hand, it has to be taken into consideration that Portuguese colonies, most of the time, they involve much more local people to took the reign of and to be involved in the decision making. So as you can see, this is absolutely devastating. See, when you've got a shock of culture, shock of people, above all in terms of disease, it was amazing. Okay, so hope you can realize it. Hope it gives you a new perspective concerning this content. Above all, if you saw that the impact was on a different area of the world. Okay, thank you. Bye bye. Enjoy your day.